So we're here now with Richard Lobo. Richard is the winner of the PhD poster contest. Congratulations, Richard.
Thank you.
So, Richard, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your poster content and implications for the industry?
Yeah, sure. So the poster that I was presenting yesterday was trying to replace soybean meal with algae. So we used two different algae species, chlorella and spirulina. And then this was a follow-up experiment from a batch culture experiment that we did. So we evaluated different diets and levels of replacement. We saw that replacing 100% of soybean meal maybe is not a good idea because it could reduce the ruminal fermentation. Then for this follow-up experiment, we started doing a dual flow continuous culture fermenter trial using 50% of replacement. Usually, most of the experiments done with algae, they use algae as a supplement. In this case, we are trying to use as an ingredient, as a replacement for soybean meal. So it was a great amount of the algae that we used. So we saw some of the main takeaways from the experiment is that the ruminal fermentation can vary according to the algae species that we are using in the diet. And in this specific case, chlorella was better comparing to spirulina, just because we could reduce the amount of protein that was degraded in the rumen during ruminal fermentation, which would improve the nitrogen metabolism of the ruminal fermentation. However, we still have to do a follow-up experiment because we don't know yet if that protein that was not degraded in the rumen is going to actually be degraded later on the abomasum and be absorbed. So we're still in the process for understanding better how to use those protein sources on the diet of dairy cows.
Okay.
So how does the protein degradation of the two algae species compare to soybean meal?
So actually, it was not different. It was kind of like similar, the protein degradation. Just when we compared the two algae species, chlorella was lower.
Okay. Do you know, does the amino acid profile differ between those algae species and soybean meal?
They differ a little bit, but algae source there a lot used on human nutrition. There is not a lot of research on amino acid profile on algae for dairy, but for human nutrition, it's a good source of essential amino acids. So for dairy, it should be kind of the same. There is a lot of essential amino acids that the animals need in there, and then maybe the reduction on the degradation of those protein in the rumen could be good because then those essential amino acids going to reach the abomasum and maybe be absorbed later on.
How does the protein content of the algae species compare to soybean meal?
All right, so soybean meal is around like 45 or something like that. Those algae that we are using, they were between 60 and 70. So it's a little bit higher. So it's a really, because it's a cell pretty much, right? So they have a higher content of protein. In the case of this experiment, we did using the lipidated algae sources just to avoid any kind of lipid interaction with proteins or effects of the lipids in the experiment. Because since we were looking at the protein content, we preferred to avoid any kind of confounding effects with lipids.
So what would the lipid content of the algae be if it wasn't the oil?
All right, it depends of the algae source, but it could reach up to 15 or almost 20% of the algae content biomass. Yeah, actually, there are some algae productions that they use for production of oil, for extraction of oil. So, yeah, it's a great amount.
Richard, there were a lot of participants in the poster contest. What was it about your poster, your presentation, your research that allowed you to stand out and be the champion?
All right, that's a hard question to answer. I don't know. I think I had a good interaction with the judges and with people in there. So the poster was like with a lot of people all the time, and then the judges, when they come, they ask a lot of questions, and I think I answered well. So I don't know, maybe.
That would have been my guess. I think you're very articulate. You have a very good way of explaining
Thank
your
you.
research. And I was kind of curious, is there any design elements of a poster that would stand out? Any advice you'd give for next year's participants?
I think like use of images and figures that could be really helpful.
Yeah.
Like use like glass, text and those kind of things. Because I think whenever you have like figures, it's more interactive, so you can show the your results and everything and your design. I think figures are a really good strategy to interact with people. And at least for me, I'm a visual person, so I really enjoy like seeing, and I understand better whenever I see like a picture or something.
Yeah, yeah, very well said. So, Richard, what's the future look like for you? What are your future plans?
All right, so I'm graduating like on summer and defending my PhD like in 2 weeks.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm applying for some jobs in the industry right now. So yeah, I'm looking forward to join the industry force on dairy science.
Yeah, awesome. Well, listen, if I were you, I'd give your resume to this gentleman right over here. We're always looking for talented young people, and you certainly fit the bill.
Thank
So,
you.
congratulations on your win today, and best of luck for you in the future.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Richard.